Hi, it's Alex here from listmyproducts.com, and I'm here today with Talal Asad from Brand Together. How are you today, Talal?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Alex.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Talal's got a very interesting background that I'd love him to dive into and explain exactly how he got into his specialization, e-commerce, really cutting his teeth in the food and beverage industry.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was exclusively or I am exclusively in the food and beverage industry. That's just kind of where I started. Right now, we work with a ton of different CPG brands, any packaged good for the most part,
Absolutely. And
except for CBD and supplements and beauty products, because those I feel are like really difficult to launch on Amazon.
Absolutely. And I'd like to come back to that point, especially about why you don't work with some companies and choose others in your experience. With that being said, your time before Brand Together was spent working in different advertising outlets, companies. How did you find yourself in particular where you are now?
Yeah, it was a pretty like serendipitous sort of path. When I was working at the advertising DSP, I was working in DSP before most people knew what DSP was, or that was like a household name, which it is now from Amazon. But when I was working there, we were working for and with some of the largest top 10 agencies and Fortune 10 companies, running DSP ads for almost everybody. And so from there, we had a beverage cooler and free snacks and drinks. And in the beverage cooler, there was this drink, and everyone started drinking this drink and getting like really, really, really hooked on it, loved it, swore by it. It was a natural energy drink. It didn't taste so great at first, but it was one of those things that like you start to drink, 3 or 4 times and it starts to grow on you. And then you start to acquire the palate for it. And it gave the best energy ever. And I would drink, I started at like one of them a day and then like two or three a day. And then at some point I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be drinking that much, but like you never really got the crazy jitters that you get from other energy drinks. But what I noticed was in that beverage cooler, it went from being like one column to one entire shelf to then like two shelves to like half the fridge plus storage space. And the entire company of like 400, 500 people was hooked on this drink. So I turned and I look at the back of it and it said brewed and born and brewed in Durham, North Carolina. And I'm like, oh, that's where I am. It's like the next town over. And I looked them up and realized it's just like a 2-person shop. Like the founder, she started it in her dorm room at Duke, one Google demo day. And then I was like, I want to work for them no matter what. So I pestered her for 8 months until she gave me a job, essentially. Had the worst interview I ever had in my life. And I thought it was dead then. And then I still fought on. And I told her, I just want to intern with you. I'll take 4 steps back if I could work with this company. But anyway, I ended up getting a really cool job with them doing everything on screen. So it would have been, social media, digital marketing, advertising, as well as the Shopify and the Amazon. So, and the e-commerce piece of it. And the e-commerce piece of it, I was not at all experienced in. And she was like, just learn it, figure it out. And I did. And so from there, that's where I really, really jumped into e-commerce. I learned Amazon. I would consider myself an Amazon expert. In e-commerce, I would consider myself an e-commerce expert. And yeah, and just from there, fell in love with both the product and the growth and the opportunities to be able to wear many hats in a small company and watch it grow again and be the third employee. And we folded. And so now the company, after a couple of years, I was, very, very, I want to say integrated into the CPG community in Durham. And so a lot of people kept asking me for help on their Amazon and their Shopify, and especially mostly Amazon. And after 3, 4, 5 people asked me for help, I was like, I wonder if I could charge for this. And I did. And yeah, and then I was able to spin it off into Brand Together, which is my little consultancy that I have now.
Awesome. And so that is a natural progression to number one, the perseverance and consistency to stick with them. You had a vision there and you said, I really want to be a part of this. Before we get into, Brand Together, what was it that you saw when you were dealing with this product for the first time that that obviously this eye of yours has, gone on and to serve other products, but in that time, what was it that you saw and said, this could be a winner? I need to not attach myself to this, but work with this company.
Attach myself is the correct term. Yeah. But it was that story of just seeing how it grew in the beverage fridge. Really, it's like you start to notice, and it's kind of a testament to how important natural growth is. And I think that's something that's lost upon a lot of people. I think it's something that was lost upon the company that I was with too. People try to value CPG like tech, and it's not the same thing. And I think this is a problem with a lot of investors who invest in CPG or invest in food and beverage, where they look for multiples and growth that are not realistic. And it's something that I've noticed time and time again. And it's a very frustrating thing, because there are so many companies that could do super well if people were just a little bit more patient with their growth. And I think impatience with growth is one of the killers of most companies.
Absolutely. I love that. And I want my audience to hear that and listen to that again and again. You have to be persistent and consistent. I love that. And so now you're working with, you started the company Brand Together. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys do? It's very, I'd say it's all encompassing. I checked out your website, everything from SEO to, really just getting the vision correct for the company. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the vision is not correct for the company right now. And I think the original vision of the company is not what's being executed on right now. So you're actually asking me a question that I'm right in the middle of contemplating myself. The original vision was I wanted Brand Together to be a brand collaborative between many small and medium brands. And that would mean being able to share influencers and buying power. And like, if you have a good packaging person, and if you have like a really good, not even just regular, like nice packaging, but like even craft packaging purchasing, and doing a lot of, like joint efforts between different companies. And what ended up happening was I kept getting dragged into doing lots of the Amazon work. And so that's something that we do really well. And we do with really great results. And I think we do it with an affordable price. And so unfortunately, or fortunately for me, like the last 3 years, it kept my ear to Amazon, but it wasn't allowing me to really jump into my vision of what I really wanted Brand Together to be. And so that's something that we're actively working on right now to reformat how we're doing things. And I'm going to try to take some steps away from doing lots of Amazon work and lots of e-commerce work, and into more of like fostering this brand collaborative that I've been kind of dreaming of for like 5 years now.
Absolutely. And I really appreciated honesty and candor, because, we do what works. You have to pay the bills, and you have to get the company started, and as you grow, you'll have new avenues available to you. Let's, I want to make sure we give the bulk of the time that we have left to focusing on what's next. But just generally, what has been the number one item that people have come to you for your Amazon services and said, you do this better than just about anyone else, and I'm so happy to work with you, Talal?
Ooh, that's good. So there's things that I don't do that I'm not good at all. And I think that's probably the better way to answer this. So I say, like, once the product is in the United States, I can help. So I am not really good at like product selection. I don't know anything about like sourcing from factories or working with factories or customs or any of the cross, ocean transatlantic freight or trans-Pacific freight. I don't know anything about that. But once it's here, I think we do a really good job of general consultancy. So like I kind of have an idea of how almost everything works once it's in the United States. And so that would mean internal 3PLs, like internal logistics, dealing with Amazon. So here's the crazy thing about Amazon. And I know that you're primarily, I want to say an eBay focused company, but like for your clients who are on Amazon, they'll know. And for people who are thinking about getting on Amazon, selling your product on Amazon is ridiculously easy. In the sense that if you have someone who knows how to write a listing, and you know how to advertise it, and you know how to grow, you will do fine on Amazon. You are not fighting for merchandising on Amazon. What you're doing is you're spending 60 to 70% of the ecosystem trying to mess you up. So Amazon itself is terrible to its sellers. It's terrible to its third-party sellers. They enforce things inconsistently. Their seller support team, some people are really good and some are just god awful. They have this team called the brand registry team that is really important. And if your sellers on Amazon will know this team. But if you need anything done from them, they don't have phone support and they have email support, and they close your tickets without even reading them or doing anything. And so you're not trying to sell a product on Amazon. You're just trying not to get swallowed by the demon that is Amazon. And so for us, we help navigate people through that and talk through like kind of almost like the psychology around it too, how to not like go crazy while you're on Amazon. Unfortunately, until Amazon fixes this, it's not an easy platform from that perspective. And so that's something that we try to help out with. It's something that I really don't like working on. And I'm trying to, like, as I said, leave that part of it. And I want to be much more upper level than like getting into the nitty gritty, because it really sucks the soul out of people.
Wow, that is a very, first of all, thank you for how detailed and honest that was. I think a lot of people have seen how easy it is to get on Amazon and sell, but you're right. I have primarily working with eBay. I have avoided a lot of the internal issues that you've mentioned. I've heard from other customers, which is another reason why I want to ask you if you see your long-term trajectory focusing more on Shopify or platforms that are more, let's say you own them entirely and they're kind of closed system, as opposed to where Amazon can come in. If you're selling a lot of your product, they'll just manufacture it themselves.
Absolutely. And that's where I think that the future really is. I know a lot of people are like very gung ho when they're a good Amazon seller until they, lose their top selling ASIN for 3 months. And that's it. The company's out of business because there's no more cash flow. Amazon stole all their inventory and won't pay them the money that they owe them. And so this happens very repeatedly, like very, very frequently, much more so than you would think. And Shopify, like, we developed our own theme. Brand Together has developed its own Shopify theme that we're going to launch on the theme store here in the next couple of weeks. Pretty excited about it. It's a grocery themed, like a grocery focused theme. And we did it for a pretty big beverage company to start. And we are going to be translating that around to other, we're going to reskin it for other companies as well. And that's kind of what we're working on right now.
Awesome. And so would that be how you define your biggest growth opportunity you see right now?
I think so. That's one of them. I think a lot more from like the software perspective of Amazon is something else. A lot of not Amazon, sorry, of e-commerce in general. We have a lot of companies that do TV advertising, and so trying to tie back TV advertising to e-commerce sales is another project I've been working on for a few years. Just haven't been able to put the focus in that I really want to. So that's really where we're going to start to take a step back. I haven't accepted a new client almost all year. Maybe one or two new clients, just like on unlimited engagements, just because all the clients that are with us don't leave, and I only have so much time in the day. So it's kind of difficult to grow, at that stage. And so we really want to refocus our efforts in terms of like helping these clients out on a more meaningful level.
Absolutely. And that's a good segue to talking about your website and promoting what you've got going on right now. Even though you're not accepting new clients at this time, the ones you have rave about you and the service you provided, not just with their product, but the amazing listening skills you have and ability to really pull out a lot of intricate detail. So I would really, for my audience, I would love for you guys to check out his website and anything he's working on, because he does this really well. And I think that the growth is going to be the next part, and he's talking about himself. But to this point, I mean, everything I've seen has been amazing. So Talal, is there anything you'd like to promote or to get more engagement on, or people to take a look at following your interview?
No, I mean, not really. I appreciate the opportunity to plug. We are Brand Together. The website is brandtogether.io. Feel free to shoot an email out to me, no matter, or like schedule something on our website, because I'll always take the meeting, whether or not we are going to accept a new client or not. And even if I don't, if we don't have the capacity or like we don't work together, I'm always happy to talk to people about anything. And so for me, like, I'm not trying to be standoffish or anything. So don't be like, oh, he's not accepting or he doesn't want to talk, because there's always an opportunity to at least learn something from a conversation. And then maybe I can refer you to someone that can help.
Awesome. Well, Talal, I think this is really eye-opening for some people who really viewed Amazon as an easy platform to get into, but I didn't really know about the issues that they could deal with once they're in. So I want to thank you so much for bringing that information to our website and our podcast and coming on the show today.
Sure. I've got one more really quick thing about like getting onto Amazon. If you have any clients who are right now talking or thinking about getting on Amazon, what a lot of people don't realize is it's a very unforgiving process. So if you mess up the registration, you can be banned for life, or at least it takes a long, long, long time to get unbanned. So first thing is first, if you are trying to jump on Amazon, make sure all of your documentation lines up exactly, meaning the company name you're putting in and the address should match exactly the company name and the address that's at the IRS and at your Secretary of State's business, like what your Secretary of State's business license. If there's mismatching in those addresses, you're done. You're not going to be able to get on Amazon. And then make sure you have a piped utility, which means internet, real phone. I don't do phone. Internet, gas, electric, water, something like that. Again, with your business name and the address. If it's in your personal name, from today, call your company and tell them to, or call your utility company and tell them to put your business name as the second line in there, because it takes a whole entire cycle for them to do it. So just make sure you just line up everything correctly. And if you don't, again, double check, triple check before you jump on Amazon.
Wow, there are a lot of pitfalls there, and for anyone who's listening, re-listen and really heed his advice, because these are long-term issues and mistakes you can make in an instant. So, Talal, thanks again for raising the awareness and the knowledge of our audience here and coming on the podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you.